Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video, which is actually the last of its kind in a way. So you may have noticed if you watch my videos that recently I've been filming a lot of work related content. So I've started a new job as a mental health support worker or a healthcare assistant, and I've done a morning routine, an evening routine, a day in the life, a week in the life, and I think that's about it. But this very last video is going to be what's in my bag, and I did question whether I should film this or not, whether this was a little bit old school, but I do actually think it's really useful because there's some things that I take to work that you might not think of taking in this line of work, and I just thought I would share it with you guys. So if you have a similar sort of job, you can add these things to your bag, or if you're just nosy like I am, you can enjoy watching the video. So without any further ado, I am actually going to get straight into it. Before I jump to what's in the bag, I'm going to jump to what I call my pocket essentials. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I always put these things in my pocket of my uniform, my tunic, and keep them on my body at all times. And I call them my pocket essentials just because without a doubt I use them every single shift and I wouldn't go to work without them. So I'm going to explain why that is. So the first thing I have is my ID card that I take to work. This has my photo on it and it has my name, the date it was issued, and what my job role is. And when I attend the unit that I'm working on or the ward that I'm working on, they usually ask if they can take this and hold it until the rest of the shift, just so that they've got the identification of who's in the building and what they're there to do. So I always take that with me just in case they ask for it. Sometimes they don't, but most of the time they do. I then also take with me a little tiny black notebook, which is very pocket sized, and a pen, and these stay in my pockets at all times. You may question if that is okay to take with me onto the ward, because if you don't know, I tend to work most of the time at a forensic hospital in a variety of low secure, medium secure units, and there's a lot of contraband that you can't take with you to work, but pens are allowed. We use them during the shift. We just have to make sure that we keep them on ourselves and don't hand them out to patients without, you know, double checking first. So the reason I take this little book and this little pen is because I have something called allocations when I'm at work. So if I'm doing a 12.5-hour shift, then I will have allocations either every hour or every 2 hours, and that basically tells me what I need to do. So if I'm one-to-one with a patient and their name is, I don't know, Bob Davis, I will write down in my little book 8 AM till 10 PM, one-to-one, BD, and just their initials. And then at the end of the shift I get rid of any of that paper, put it in a confidential waste bin, just because it's not good to bring that home with you, and obviously the pen is just there for me to write those things down with. So there's that. And the last pocket essential is actually one that I'm wearing at the minute, but it's my Fitbit. And you do have to be careful with this because patients aren't typically allowed to use the internet, and I know, like, if you've got an Apple Watch and things like that, then your messages will come through. I don't really know how that all works, but I don't have my Fitbit connected to anything. It's literally purely in use just for my steps and the time and the kilometres in everyday life. But then when I'm at work, I use the Fitbit just to tell the time, because sometimes when you're with patients you don't always have access to a clock, and if I'm on a one-to-one with somebody and have to record their whereabouts every 15 minutes, I need to be able to keep track of the time. So I just usually put my Fitbit in my pocket because I'm not allowed it on my wrist. You have to bear below the elbow at work. So those are the 4 things that are always in my pocket. I take them with me every single shift, and without a doubt use them every single time. But moving on to the bag, the backpack that I take is actually a very small one. If you can't tell, if I hold it up to my head, it's only just bigger than my head. So it's a Mountain Warehouse bag. I think I actually picked this up for about $4.99, and then inside, this is all ready to go because I do have work later today. The first thing that you come across is my big fat lunch box, because I eat a lot, especially if you're there for a 12.5-hour day. You're there for breakfast, lunch and dinner. I actually picked this one up not long ago from Asda. It's got lots of sections in it, which is why I like it. So I've got this little section on top where I usually put like cheese and crackers or something like that, but I can also slot things underneath. The same over here, and then the same here too. So I really like that. I think that was about £5. And then alongside that, I also take some form of fizzy drink with me, but something that I don't put in my bag is actually my water bottle, because I bring this onto the ward with me, whereas everything that you're seeing in my bag stays in my locker off the ward, just so everything's nice and safe. I have my phone, a Again, it's a forensic hospital, so phones aren't allowed on the ward anyway. I usually just keep it in my bag on flight mode. I don't know why, sometimes I use it on my breaks if I get a break, depends what shift I'm doing, but yeah, I take that with me anyway. I also take some headphones, again, if I'm doing a longer shift, then I get an hour's lunch if I work 12.5 hours, so I will usually spend my time watching a YouTube video or something like that, and if there's someone else in the staff room, then headphones are obviously ideal. I take my card just because I might need petrol on the way back home, or a cheeky burger from Burger King if I'm feeling very hungry. You never know, always good to take it just in case of an emergency. I also take a spare pen just in case. I'm a bit picky, I could just use pens on the ward, but I like using the ones with that little grip just because I write funny, and if I use little flimsy ones then I tend to get cramp in my hands because I'm weird like that. And then the last two things that are kind of similar to that is just my car keys and my house keys. And then that's actually bringing me on to the last little section of what's in my bag, and that is the toiletry section, I suppose you'd call it. As I've said, I do work 12.5 hour shifts most of the time. I tend to do about 2 of those a week, and then when I don't do those I do something called twilight shifts, which is like 4 till 11 or 4 till midnight. So I do like to bring a few toiletries just to freshen up on my break. So first things first, I always bring a tiny little hairbrush just in case I need to redo my hair, and on the end of that I always make sure there's a spare hair bubble. I also have a little body spray, again just to freshen up on my break. These tend to spray quite nicely on my clothes. At the minute I'm using the Ted Baker raspberry and orange blossom body spray, and I picked this up in Boots for probably about a few quid. It's not very expensive, I don't like taking stuff like that to work. I also always carry a hand sanitizer. Obviously this is always available to you on the wards anyway, but I like having my own just in case. You can never really have enough. I've actually not used this one yet, I only bought it yesterday, and it's the lemon one from the Body Shop. And if you've never smelt this or never tried this, oh my goodness, I 100% recommend, because it smells incredible. So definitely get your hands on one of those. It was £6, so it is a little bit pricey, but it just smells absolutely divine, so I could justify it. The next thing is just a packet of wipes. I know these aren't the best for the environment or anything like that. I don't ever really tend to use them, to be honest, but just in case there's like a little spillage on my uniform, or I need to quickly wipe down my hands after an incident, anything like that. I don't know, I can't think of any examples because I very rarely use them, but I just like to have them just in case. And those I think I picked up from Primark in a pack of 2 for £1, so again nothing really expensive comes with me to work. And then the last 2 things I have, these are absolutely incredible, and I have spoken about these before on my channel, but these are called Listerine Go Tabs, and I have used these already, so they are a little bit manky, the packet, I won't lie. They look like this, and I think I got these in Home Bargains for about 49p, so I bought lots at once because I just thought that was such a good deal. And it's basically like a hard tablet that you put in your mouth and you chew, and as you chew it, it turns into liquid, and then it's basically a mouthwash which you can swallow. As I said, 12.5 hour shifts, you do start to feel a little bit manky after a while. It's not really a vibe to bring my whole toothbrush and toothpaste, but I take these instead just as a little compromise to that, because chewing gum really isn't allowed on the units, and I don't even want to have it in my bag just in case anything happens and there's a mix-up. But those are nice and safe to bring on with me. And the last thing I have to show you that is inside my bag is just a packet of ibuprofen. I don't usually take this, to be honest, but I'm currently on my period and have very bad period pain, so I'll pop those in for later today just in case. And then alongside that I'll obviously have my period supplies too. And that is absolutely everything that was in my bag. The only other thing that I take to work, which I never ever leave in my bag, I tend to leave it in my car, is a spare t-shirt and a spare pair of trousers, just anything to change into, because my tunic that I wear for work is white, and if that gets messy, whether that's someone spitting on me or being sick, or there's just any sort of incident where I get messy, if I have something to change into, I can stay there. If not, I mean, I don't really know what would happen. I assume I'd get sent home, or there'd be some like little scrubs lying around for me to wear, but I'd obviously be much more comfortable in my own clothes, so I tend to leave something like that in the car. And the same goes for like a jacket to keep me warm. I either wear that on top, or I leave that in the car or in the locker room. And other than that, that is pretty much everything that I take to work with me. I'm aware the video has been pretty short and sweet, but there's not really much point in me rambling. I thought this would be quite a nice one to film as I said, just to give you a little bit of an insight into what I take with me. So if you've recently got a job like this, or you work in a similar line of work, you can get a bit of inspiration from this. I do find that all of these things are useful, and I do use them on a very regular basis. There's not really anything in my bag that I don't tend to use other than the wipes. So I hope that's made a little bit more sense as to what I take with me. Obviously, if I was working in a different type of hospital, I might take a few extra goodies or other little bits and pieces, but it is very strict as to what you can take in and out with you. So I do tend to be quite careful. And yeah, that's about it, I think. So if you enjoyed the video, then please don't forget to give it a like, comment and subscribe down below. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you all very soon in the next one. Goodbye.